All right, hi everybody, Assalamualaikum, and welcome to the panel. So this is the good, bad, and the ugly of filming in Texas. So my name is Fatima Hye. I'm a filmmaker. I'm actually Bangladeshi, although one of my best friends growing up was Pakistani, and my ex-husband was Pakistani. But you know, we're all Desi here, most of us. So I made a few films, the shorts, and I'm trying to develop my fourth feature film. So I also teach at the local colleges, Houston Community College, San Jac, and ACC. I teach philosophy, humanities. And I'm gonna just let everyone kind of introduce themselves like in 30 seconds. Okay, so this is Taylor Jackson. I know everybody here, we've met before, it's funny, but I'll let them introduce and just like pitch whatever they want to pitch. Okay, so this is Taylor Jackson from HAA, Houston Arts Alliance.
Hi everyone, again my name is Taylor Jackson. I'm the Director of Grants at Houston Arts Alliance, which is an arts and cultural agency in the city, and the work that I do specifically in my department in partnership with the city of Houston is distribute public dollars, hotel occupancy tax dollars, to the arts and cultural community by way of our competitive grant processes. So that's a little bit about me. I've been working at HAA for about 2 years. I've been in Houston for the same amount of time, so I would still consider myself a newbie and learning the landscape, but I'm really excited to be here today and be a part of this discussion, and yeah, some incredible folks on the panel, so I'll pass it on.
All right, so one thing I just wanted to also clarify, like this is done by Indus Arts, the council, the organization. Just to clarify, we're all here to represent ourselves, and today's panel, we're only going to talk about film stuff. So I know there's a lot of issues out there and stuff like that. So we're going to focus on Texas, filmmaking in Texas. Okay, go ahead. This is Rachel Acosta. She works with Houston Cinema Arts Society.
Hi, yeah, I'm Rachel Acosta. I work for the Houston Cinema Arts Society. I'm the Community Partnerships and Programs Manager. I put on film screenings all over the city and try and help facilitate a film culture here in the city and help bring resources to artists and bring audiences together and bring Houston together, since we are so spread out, and celebrate filmmaking and stories from our community. So we are a nonprofit. We've been around for over 16 years. We put on a big film festival in the fall called the Houston Cinema Arts Festival. Happens all over the city, international films, local films, shorts, docs, narratives, everything. And then we put on a few different short film competitions as well. I could go on. And then personally, I work with a couple different organizations like the Friends of River Oaks Theater, the Big Queer Picture Show, and Dykes the World, and all of those we put on different film screenings in the city.
Okay, next we have Shuja Uddin, who's here he teaches at ACC, Austin Community College. Go ahead.
Hi guys, I'm Shuja, and I'm the token Pakistani on this panel. So happy to be here. Thank you, Shahid. I'm originally from Pakistan, born and raised in Karachi, and I live in Austin, Texas. I have my production company there. I tell stories for the government, nonprofit, and educational institutions called Tishna Films. I'm also a screenwriter, so I went to Boston University to do my MFA in screenwriting, and then I'm also a professor of film and cinema at Austin Community College, bringing global cinema to Central Texas. So happy to talk to you all.
Okay, next we have Michelle Mower. So she's a prolific filmmaker. She's gotten on, she's gotten theatrical release, etc. She's a big deal for us, so go ahead.
Hello, I think you just introduced me. Yes, I'm Michelle Moore, writer, producer, and director, based here in Houston, and I think what's more germane, though, to this panel is I am co-executive producer of a film called Bakri, which just premiered at South by Southwest, directed by Ravi Lal. Yes. So I'm very excited to be here, representing Bakri.
Okay, great. And last but not least, we have Alfred Cervantes. Many of you probably already know him. He's a deputy director of the Houston Film Commission.
Close, I'm executive director.
Oh, right. Forgot about that.
He has deputies.
Yes, my name is Alfred Cervantes. I'm the executive director of the Houston Film Commission. We are an office that markets and promotes Houston as a production destination, but we also are an information resource office for filmmakers. We help filmmakers find what they need to successfully shoot their films in the city of Houston. Locations, crew, equipment, red tape, if you need parks, streets, things like that. We provide that information to producers or directors to help them, again, successfully achieve their shoots in the city of Houston. We have a very simple website, filmhouston.com, filmhouston.com, filmhouston.com. Just one of those, Film Houstons, just filmhouston.com.
Yes. Okay, excellent. So we just started a little bit late, but it's supposed to be half an hour. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of start, I'll give a very short story for my own experience in filming in Texas, and then I'll ask a question for each of the panelists so you can kind of see where their area of expertise is, and then I'll open up to the floor. Okay, so there's one kind of medium length feature that I did. It's like a featurette called Animalium. You can see it on Tubi, Apple TV, etc. And it's a road trip about these two brothers that are traveling through Texas. Okay, so when we shot this, it was in summer. And to save money, we decided to all crash at one of our crew members' houses, right? Well, he didn't have a house. He was like a student in a dorm. So it was like, think of a young college male student dorm, okay? Very crowded. At the last second, he was like, my AC doesn't work. And this is in the middle of summer, okay? So, and then at the end of another shoot, it was like that evening, we had just wrapped. And then that evening, it was like a hurricane coming or something. So I guess my big thing would be weather. Okay, so let me ask each of the panelists a question to kind of get us warmed up and maybe give you some information before you ask your own questions. Okay, so Taylor, you do grants for AJA, and I guess the question would be, like, what are the percentages of people who apply to the grants, and what percentage actually end up getting a grant?
So that varies from cycle to cycle, and also from program to program. So we have 5 competitive grant programs that we offer at HAA. 2 are multi-year grants, meaning we make them available more than once a year, and the other 3, you're only eligible to apply once a year. And so for those 3, we call them our annual grants because it's an annual sort of date for applying. And we have a general operating support grant for organizations, a project grant for individual artists and creatives, and a festival grant. And so, you know, for instance, we might have 130 folks apply to our support for organizations grant and 35 apply to festival. And we might accept I think the last year we had 120 support for organization grantees, and we had 10 or 11 festival grantees. So the percentages vary drastically dependent on the grant program. But if any of you all are interested in learning about the specifics of, you know, our different grant opportunities and what might be the best fit for an idea that you all have, you can absolutely reach out to us and we can talk through your idea and figure out what's the best fit. And then I can also give you some data related specifically to that particular program.
Okay, great. And Rachel, so I know you do, you produce other people's films and stuff, right?
Yes.
And you worked in wardrobe for a while, right?
Yes.
So I was interested in that. Like, what level of budgeted filmmakers or film projects come to you and need specifically like wardrobe? Because I think that's very, it's like a higher end to me. It's like that would be a goal to hire someone to do wardrobe. But like, what type of films have you worked on in that capacity?
Yeah, so I've done plays, shorts, and commercials doing wardrobe, and it varies depending on the client and the filmmaker. So for instance, I worked on a short with like a first-time filmmaker, but they had a pretty decent budget. But honestly, the first thing you do is when you source from your actors. So when you're looking for a budget, or like whatever budget you have, you talk to your actors and be like, what do you have already that fits this character? And then they'll bring you, oh, I have all of these pants and these things, so we know what I can work with from there, and then I'll fill in different holes. And if there's specific items for this character, or if it's like a period piece, or it depends on like if I have to source certain things, that's when the budget gets, you know, more expensive. So it really depends. And then also another thing you do with wardrobe is returns. You buy a lot of things and then you return them. Yeah, so that's a big thing. That's where people get their money back. Yeah.
Okay, Shuja, I was interested in the International Baccalaureate that you do for film. So you said you teach students from like intermediate all the way through high school. And can you just tell us a little bit about that program? Because that was very unique to me, I thought.
Yeah, so one of my focus is to bring global-mindedness approach towards cinema, particularly in Central Texas. So I teach at a private high school in downtown Austin called Headwater School, and I run their International Baccalaureate program. So for those who don't know, International Baccalaureate is kind of like AP, but it's from Europe, so it's better. No, I'm just kidding. But so our focus is to bring a global-mindedness and global cinema to Texas. So one of my focuses, I'm teaching middle school to high school, but at the high school level, that's where the IB part of it kicks in, is to both reflect, inquire, and then do action based on your creative process, and we bring that helps them when they go for college applications. And that's the kind of cinema. So we're looking at cinema from Hong Kong, from India, from Nigeria, and from all these other parts of Latin America, and I think that is something that we need in Central Texas to know more and more about the cinema that's emanating from other parts of the world and how it can influence the films that we're making here in Texas. So, and I do that same approach that I bring to Austin Community College also, where I have students from different age groups and different backgrounds. I have a lot of veterans in my class, and have served in Iraq, have served in Afghanistan, and to show them films from that part of the world and to have a conversation about what it is to be from those parts of the world, and then what's the cinema that we're creating that can be reflective of those things. So that global-mindedness is really important, because even though Hollywood is the dominant cinematic form, there are other filmmaking forms and cinemas that are coming on. That's what I really focus on, is cinema and nation building.
Great. Okay, so Michelle, I know you mostly as a filmmaker and producer, and when you had the distribution company, so I'm curious about the one that you just did with Iram. And so what capacity did you work on that with her? Like, were you an executive producer, or what was your relation to the film?
Okay, so I met Iram through Film Fatales, which is an organization based in Los Angeles. You have to be a direct, either female or female identifying or non-binary filmmaker to be a member, and you also had to have directed a feature film that's been distributed, or an episode of television. So all professional female directors and non-binary directors. So I met Iram. She's, if you know her, she is very gung-ho person. She gets out there and she works. She hustles. She really tries to get her stories told as authentically to her experience as possible, which is something I deeply respect. And obviously her experiences are vastly different from mine, which also fascinates me. And so we became sort of, colleagues, I guess, in that way. And I guess a couple of years ago, she was raising money for her. I'd seen her first film, I'll Meet You There, and just thought it was beautiful. And I felt I was a little heartbroken for her when the film it was her first film, and it was premiering at South by Southwest in 2020. Sorry, my nose is a little itchy. And she, of course, we all know what happened. They canceled South by Southwest that year and put everything online. And so her big debut as a feature filmmaker was kind of taken away from her. It was sort of ripped out from under her. As a filmmaker, I just felt so badly for her, And I tried to support and promote it, whenever it was online. But I just was, at that point, was now paying attention to her work. And so a couple of years ago, she was raising money for her second feature from her sophomore feature called Valkyrie, which, if you don't speak language, you probably do, but it means one of a kind. And she sent me the pitch deck, and it just really looked like something that I would be personally interested in watching. I owned a film sales and distribution company at one point. We shuttered in December of 2021, but prior to that, we distributed movies directed by women with female-driven narratives. And so that's always been a passion of mine. If you haven't seen the film, it's about a school teacher in Pakistan who is struggling to raise money for her girls' school. And just through sort of a fluke, ends up becoming a viral influencer, sensation, very much feminist, perspective, and through that is able to raise the money for the school, but in also doing so, she's putting her life and her family at risk. So it was a story. When I read the screenplay, I remember thinking, this could be a really powerful and an important film for Pakistan, and I believe it is. But when we premiered in South by Southwest in March, in the post-screening Q&A, they asked me, how I got involved, and I said, I told them that I thought it would be an important film for Pakistan, but I didn't realize 2 years ago when I read the screenplay that the story would be important and impactful potentially for Texas. And we're in a state where women are losing our rights. And our rights are under attack. So I am really proud of this film. I'm proud of my involvement in it. And to answer your question, finally, my involvement is I raised money. And I gave money, so I invested in it.
Okay, awesome. Sorry, I just got noticed that they are going to go on time for the next film, so that's why we're trying to wrap things up a little bit faster here than we anticipate. So Alfred, he plugged the website really well. They have a ton of resources. So I was curious about the recent tax things. Can you get us up to date on what are the incentives that are being given in Texas right now?
Sure, I'll talk really fast. So the state of Texas does have a state-level incentive program for film production. It's a tiered incentive. The more you spend making your project in Texas, the more you can ask back from the state of Texas. The first tier is if you spend between $250,000 and $1 million in the state making your project, you can ask for 7.5% back from the state of Texas. The next tier is projects between $1 million and $3.5 million. You can ask for up to 12.5% back from the state of Texas. And then the highest tier is if you spend $3.5 million or more in the state of Texas making your project, you can ask for up to 22.5%. There are a couple of uplifts now to that program where I'll just speak about the highest tier, 22.5%. If you shoot in an underutilized area, you can ask for an additional 2.5%, and the greater Houston area is considered an underutilized area. The other two new things are if you hire 5% of your cast and crew that are U.S. Armed Service veterans, then you can ask for a 2.5% back. If your cast and crew is 5% U.S. Armed Service veterans, or the third choice now is that if you spend 10% of your post-production dollars in the state of Texas, you can ask for 2.5%. So, but it's an either-or choice from the underutilized hiring veterans or post-production, but that's an extra 2.5% that they didn't have before.
All right, so let's just start with one question. We'll see how many we have time for. So go ahead, and can you just let us know who you want the question to be asked?
Quick one to Alfred. Do you have to be registered, or your production company to be registered in Texas to be able to get? Because I've been working on a film, producing here, filming here, all out of it, but based out of Illinois.
It's okay. Your company doesn't have to be based here, but you have to spend your money here in the state of Texas. So it has to be Texas spend. We can certainly schedule a meeting about that or something, because the other things that have always been true in Texas is that in the eyes of the state of Texas, if you're making a commercial project that you intend to resell or make a profit on. It's a business. It's a commercial project. So any essential items that you rent or purchase should be state sales tax free. And so that's camera rental, camera purchase, light rental, light purchase, sound gear, sound purchase, and then anything in the frame of the film, so props, paint, wardrobe, anything that's going to be on camera should be state sales tax free as well. So that's a savings right there as well. And what's always been true in the state of Texas, if anyone rents a hotel room 30 or more consecutive days, that's also state sales tax free as well. So those are some other savings that have always been true.
All right, I think we have time for one more question, and we might be around hanging out after if you want to like get our contacts and ask further questions. And sorry for the rush for today, but is there one last question for today's session? Okay. All right. If that's the case, then we're pretty much on time anyway. So thank you to all the panelists who came and showed up and answered great questions for us. And we'll be around. You can find all the information in the literature and the promotional stuff. So if you have more questions, reach out to us personally. And then, you know.
If you can't remember filmhouston.com, if you can't remember that, there are some postcards on the back table that's there with all of my information.
Yes, and sorry, one more minute. Sorry, one more minute.
Oh, one more minute.
And I'm going to plug cinemahtx.org. 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 And then
All right, since we're all
no, I'm
plugging
so sorry.
Since we're all-
Swamp.org.
well, actually, I was going to plug Friends of River Oaks Theater.
Yes, Friends of River Oaks Theater. All of these different
yeah.
organizations that
Yeah.
exist to serve
In addition
y'all.
to all the other things I do, I'm a founding board member of Friends of River Oaks Theater, and I'm currently in production on a documentary about how the local film community, well, not just film community, the local community, the River Oaks community, film community, all the various, the Rocky Horror Picture Show community, all these crazy communities in Houston came together to save our last historic art house cinema in Houston, the River Oaks Theater.
All right, and I'll just plug for Taylor, HAA, Houston Arts Alliance, and then I think we're out of time, so you can ask us further questions if you want to, but if everyone can start heading over to the next event. 1 minute? Okay, I think they want to do something. Okay, just
And
talk
for
about
those who
yourselves.
are trying to find work, for film, TexasFilmCommission.com is a great resource to look for more productions that are happening. And definitely visit Austin and the greater Austin area because there's a lot of production that's happening in Bastrop, Texas. San Marcos is building a new production studio, and there's a lot of studios in Bastrop, Texas that I've personally visited. I would highly, highly recommend to represent Austin, Texas. So let's go.
There's so many Houston
H-Town.
production studios and companies that are opening, and keep an eye out. Just follow the Houston film industry because it's growing and y'all are a part of it, and you need to help be a part of it and grow and show up to these events. Give yourself a round of applause for showing up today because we need to show up and support these amazing festivals that are happening here and watch all of these amazing movies. So, yeah.
I just wanted to make a comment, if I may. I met Michelle 5-6 years ago, and she is someone who is really a top leader to support women and their films, even when she gives us a lunch meeting or something. I just wanted to plug that.
Facts. Michelle gave me my first job. Yeah.
Wow.
Was I your first investor too?
Yeah. Basically, yeah.